About a year and a half ago, I started conducting interviews with people who believed they had encounters with ghosts. Now, I wasn't interviewing strangers or random people. I was interviewing people I already knew. Friends, family members, colleagues, former students. I wanted to get a sense for just how common are these experiences. The story I'm about to tell you comes from one such interview. This interview is with a close friend of mine who we will call Maya for the purposes of this video. Maya is highly educated and has a successful career. And years ago, when she was a freshman in college, she moved into an apartment with a friend and had a number of paranormal experiences in that space. Now, this apartment was actually part of an old house that had been divided into 4 apartment units, and she and her friend were renting one of them. Now, over the 6 months or so that Maya lived in this apartment, she encountered at least 6 different entities. So the story I'm about to tell you is only one of many experiences Maya had. While living in this apartment, Maya's room was actually the living room, and there was a room between her and that of her roommate. Now, no one would stay in that small room between them, and there was a reason. Maya recounted that if you went into that room and stayed there for too long and weren't paying attention to what you were doing, when you turned around, you would occasionally encounter an apparition of a teenage girl. She would appear often very close to you, as though she wanted to engage. She was not transparent, but as Maya described it, she had sort of a soft focus and was enveloped in sort of a ghostly glow. But what's important about this story is that Maya was not the only person who would see this girl. Her roommate saw the girl, Maya's boyfriend at the time saw the girl, her roommate's boyfriend saw the girl, and according to Maya, about half a dozen different people had encounters with this ghost. Now, there's a term for cases like this, when multiple people see a ghost. That term is collective apparition. And these kinds of collective apparitions are really important for the study of the paranormal. Now, dating back to the 1800s, there have been debates about what ghosts actually are. Some have posited that they are some sort of telekinetic phenomena, that individuals actually receive some sort of psychic telekinetic message and in their mind see an apparition, while others have contested that ghosts are actually themselves something outside of individuals, that they possess some kind of quasi-material existence in and of themselves. And cases of collective apparitions have been an integral part of this debate. If multiple people are seeing an apparition, well, then it's probably not something telekinetically experienced by an individual, though it does leave open hypotheses that maybe multiple people are receiving some sort of telekinetic signal as though it were some sort of radio broadcast. But beyond these sorts of debates about the nature of the existence of ghosts, there's another reason why collective apparitions are noteworthy, because these kinds of accounts where multiple people experience the same phenomena challenge many of the scientific explanations that are used in an attempt to debunk ghosts. Many of those scientific explanations involve some sort of hallucinations, some brought on by various mental health conditions, and others brought on by some sort of environmental factor, carbon monoxide, mold. Now, it is important to note that there isn't really solid scientific evidence that these factors actually cause people to see ghosts. Now, carbon monoxide and gas leaks are known to cause feelings of dread and paranoia and some of the things that might be associated with some haunt-type phenomena. But thus far, to my knowledge, there isn't any scientific evidence that says those kinds of things can cause hallucinations of vivid apparitions. But even if they could, collective apparitions still challenge that. Because in a case like Maya's, where multiple people repeatedly saw the same apparition of a teenage girl with similar descriptions, it seems statistically improbable and nearly impossible that that many people would have such similar hallucinations. Now, there are other potential explanations, like suggestibility. If one person says they see something, maybe other people think they see it too. Now, that kind of explanation makes more sense if you're talking about something very vague, like a shadow, maybe pareidolia, or the tendency to see human faces in shapes and in the noise comes into play. But when at least a half a dozen people report seeing the same vivid apparition of a teenage girl, as was the case in Maya's account, it seems highly unlikely that that's at play. When you have cases like this with collective apparitions, many of those scientific explanations become much more flimsy. The idea that 3, 4, 5, or 6 people would have similar hallucinations becomes highly improbable. The most probable thing is either the person who's telling you that story is fabricating it, or they really saw something. Now, as I noted, Maya is a close friend of mine and someone who I believe has no reason to lie to me. I can't say with certainty that the story is not fabricated, but I have no reason to believe that, based on my experience with her. As we try to figure out what ghosts are, what they aren't, if they are real, in what ways they are real, collective apparitions have an important place in that exploration. So for those who are looking to find evidence of the existence of ghosts, or want to study them from a scientific perspective, looking towards collective apparitions might be a good place to start.